Today's lesson is looking at what the rule for greater than 1/2 would be. So last lesson we figured out that 2/4, this amount, 2/4 was equivalent to 1/2 because the numerator was half of the denominator. Now we're going to look at if we wrote this fraction down, which would be 3 parts out of 4, or 3/4, can we tell by looking at the fraction to see whether it's greater than 1/2? We can visually see it if we drew it out, or if we had the models, but we need to be able to do it by looking at the fraction itself written out. So if we look at this fraction and we look at the numerator, is the numerator half the denominator? No. It's more than half. It's 1/4 larger. It is 1/4 larger than half of it, than the 2/4. It is 1/4 larger. Okay. We're going to go on. Our next one we're looking at is our 3/6. This we know is half. It is equivalent to 1/2. The numerator is half of the denominator. The denominator is 2 times the amount of the numerator. So we can see that this is equivalent to 1/2. Now if we were looking at this fraction amount, 4/6, we would have to be able to look at it and figure out if it's greater than 1/2. So we ask ourselves, is the numerator twice the denominator? Is the denominator, or I said that wrong. Is the denominator twice the numerator? Is the numerator half of the denominator? And it's not. If we put the piece in, we can visually see that now we are greater than half. This is half, but we just added a piece. So the numerator is larger than half of the denominator. We'll look at one more. We are looking at 4/8. This is 4/8. We know that 4/8 is half of the whole because the numerator is half of the denominator. The denominator is 2 times the numerator. Now if we're looking at 5/8, just by looking at the new fraction, we should be able to see that it is larger than 1/2 because the numerator is larger than half of the denominator. Okay. Visually we can see it now. 5/8 is larger than 1/2. It's 1/8 larger than 1/2.